Ado, the One Piece Red soundtrack Uta songs track by track CD playlist listen through continues. Made a mess of that, didn't I? With the song The World's Continuation. And do you know what? This is really exciting for me because so far, I can't believe we're 5 tracks in, and the 5 tracks we've had so far have been all really interesting, really notable, really had personality, really had their own identity, and I don't think there's been a single song on here so far that I haven't felt has really kind of pulled its weight in its own way. They're all very different, and yet they're all very effective. They're all songs that I would listen to in their own right, in their own situation. But this one, The World's Continuation, all I can see is that thumbnail. It looks very... it's kind of reminding me of, was it Van Gogh with the sky at night, the stars? Kind of like a simplified version of that, maybe a bit of a storybook vibe, and The World's Continuation. It sounds very thought-provoking. It's nearly 5 minutes long as a song, so I don't know, my preconceptions, and I'm expecting that maybe this is going to be our first ballad. We've just come off the back of Top Musica, which of course was like a slow but very intense kind of song. So anyway, I have made all these guesses, but I have absolutely nothing to base them on. Let's actually listen to the song and then make some informed comments instead. I think I might have been right. Nice.
どうしてあの日遊んだ海の匂いはどうして過ぎる季節に消えてしまうのまた同じ歌を歌うたびあなたを誘うでしょう信じられる
Really loving just hearing her voice
信じられる
front and center.
あの星明かりを海の広さを信じられる信じられる深い朝を待つこの羽に吹く追い風のいざなう空を
That use of sounds in the background as well. A little bit of harp and the bell. It's all very sparse, and yet the strings are so big.
どうして変わることなく見えた笑顔はどうして寄せる波に隠れてしまうのまた同じ歌を歌うたびあなたを思うでしょう信じてみる信じてみるこの道の果て手を振る
I love the way the chorus is just simply expressed by her voice and the strings rising.
この歌は私の歌とやがて会う君のように信じられる信じられるあの星明かりを海の広さを信じてみる信じられる夢の続
I like how it's kind of turned into this kind of swooning anthem at the end.
広さを信じられる信じられる夢の続きで共に生きよう暁の輝く今日に
Love that beautiful resolved final chord. I'm going to say it now. I have to go back and listen to her other stuff before I make this statement too confidently, but I would say that's got to be at least among the most beautiful things that she's ever recorded, because that's really, really lovely. I think what hits most about this, there's a couple of reasons why I think this is particularly beautiful. The video is a big part of it. I think the video conveys the feeling really well. But for me, two things that are surprisingly interesting is, first of all, that this has a very traditional, maybe more so in Japan, but just generally a very traditional kind of ballad structure, and yet it does it so well. You know, the use of the sounds, like the little bits of what sounded like there was a little bit of a koto being used in there. You got a little bit of that in there. You got these sort of harp sounds as well. These very delicate kind of string sounds that are giving these beautiful emotions. And then, under the fact you've got the stringed instruments, you've also got the bow string instruments, kind of more orchestral strings as well. Them giving this big sort of thick layered sort of rising energy beneath everything. The orchestration here was beautifully done, so simple, but it just sort of rose and lifted everything in the choruses. I mean, as I said, when you go into the chorus, there wasn't a huge amount of change really of anything to do with the arrangement. It was just that the strings lifted everything up. They rose in strength, and then Ado's voice lifted in strength as well. And for me, that just shows what a beautiful kind of heartfelt sort of song this is, that its entire chorus, its entire, I mean, yeah, of course the chorus is written to be a little bit more catchy and memorable, but the whole energy of the chorus completely comes just from the rising strength of the strings and the vocals and just the pushing of that extra emotion out. So for me, it was very beautifully performed, beautifully written in such a simplistic way to give room for all of those emotions to come through in the performance of both the vocals and the strings. But the other thing I wanted to say as well, and this is kind of interesting, is because I can't help but, and I said this when I did the review of Top Musica last, I can't help but be aware of, although I have not watched the One Piece Red movie, the fact that these songs are all coming from the same character. And so I mean, I don't even know if these appear in the same order as the movie or whatever, but I feel like I'm almost listening to this as a concept album. I mean, they keep on using the character Uta. She keeps on appearing in all of the videos anyway as the central protagonist of our music videos here. So in a way, I feel almost like we're listening to a concept album. I have no idea if this in any way correlates to anything that happens in the movie, but it's interesting because we hear these big high energy pop star songs at the beginning of the album for for the best part of how the album starts. Then you have like Top Musica, which is kind of like the crash out. It's the song where she's really going over to that sort of darker, angry, something's coming, some kind of inner demons are coming out. And then this is kind of like the repair. This is kind of like the person who, the big pop star energy. Then she has that crash out and she's overcome with these sort of big dramatic demons, if you like. And then this is the crash out. This is after the crash out. This is when we just break down to the little person inside, and she just goes to being this little chibi character sitting with her friends on the hill, watching as the scene changes from night to day to countryside to seaside, just sitting there swaying with her friends. I think this does a fantastic job of conveying emotion in just the simplest and most beautiful ways, and I really enjoyed this. And it's funny because in a way this is not a song that I feel it's one of those songs where I don't even know if I would wholeheartedly recommend this as being like a great example of what Ado does, because I think Ado's got a lot more songs where she takes the listener to places that only Ado can go. And this is the sort of song where I wouldn't say Ado's the only person who could deliver this song, but she is the one who's delivering this song, and she is delivering it brilliantly. I'm certainly not saying there's anything wrong with her performance. Her performance is absolutely exceptional in this. I'm just saying that whereas there's some Ado songs where you think Ado is the only person who could do that, this is one of those songs where it's like such a traditional ballad. I can imagine there's other singers who could maybe enjoy covering this and taking a shot at it, because it's just got this wholesome traditional feeling to it. However, Ado is the one who delivers it. She delivers it incredibly. And I suspect as well, the interesting thing is that that whole theme that the song is running down, that kind of self-acceptance theme, obviously now seems much more interesting in light of the fact that we had Vivarium and all the discussion that Vivarium's obviously raised, and the themes that Vivarium is about and that Ado's talked about when discussing Vivarium. Those themes feel interestingly very real in this as well. Now, obviously, we can see here, and massive credit to everyone involved. Obviously, Ado did not write this song, but I feel like I almost feel like this song is perhaps one that would have spoken to her. I know there's a lot of people who've read all of her interviews and listened to her many hours of radio appearances who could probably have heard her talk about the song and probably can give me some insight on that. But I can't help but feel this is a song that feels very heartfelt. It feels like it comes from a genuine place for her, even if she's just the performer. And I do think it's a very beautifully delivered song. I think the video is gorgeous as well. Great stuff. Again, it's not reinventing the world. This is the kind of song that if you're not already predisposed to liking kind of ballads or Ado, it's not going to win you over. But if you are already predisposed to those things, I think this is a superb example of the genre. Really enjoyed this. I guess I'm not surprised that I guess there would be a ballad and this would be the one. It does kind of give you all the indications, but this is great as well. After 5 songs of interesting forms of fun and intensity, it's really great to have our first ballad and see it take us in a different direction. But of course, the next song that we'll be checking out will be Where the Wind Blows. So remember to follow me into that reaction, which will be coming out in the next few days. As always, I'm releasing these a few days apart. But until I do see you, hopefully very soon in that video for the next reaction. For now, ciao, ciao. Where's the button? There we go. Ciao, ciao.